most part, be okay with not knowing everything. My routine was radically changed over the course of like a year and a half by the fact of what I learned and what I'm learning about myself.
If you were to look back and give yourself one piece of advice as an incoming freshman, what would that be?
Does it have to, it can't be a mixture of stuff? I don't know. Best podcast, tap in. That's it. Subscribe.
This is the STU Street Podcast, episode 4. I'm your host, Sam Morra, and today I am sitting down with Uchenna Nwosu. Uche is going into his junior year at Boston University as a mechanical engineering major and a premier member of the BU track and field team. During Uche's freshman year, he claimed multiple wins, including the 200-meter dash at the Army Twighlight Meet during the outdoor season, as well as the 200-meter dash at the PL Challenge during his indoor season. As a sophomore, Uchenna claimed the 110 hurdle title at the Patriot League Championships and set multiple personal records in both the 110 hurdles and the 200-meter dash. Welcome to the podcast, Uchenna. It's an honor to have you.
Hey, man, I love to be on here. Thanks for having me.
So I've kind of highlighted a few things about you, but we're really going to deep dive into just how you've culminated your whole experience so far in college. You've already been able to accomplish a great deal and still have half your college career to go. To be able to progress at that kind of pace, it takes a lot of discipline and commitment to your sport as well as your academics. I want to dive into your current routine, but first I'd like to hear a little bit about your background and your early experience in track, just to feel out how it led to where you are today. So first of all, what kind of made you want to start sprinting?
Before I answer that question, I'd like to just give you a little bit of context behind that. So for the most part, I am from Central New Jersey, smack in the middle. All my Jersey people on here are going to say North Jersey or South Jersey are going to say Central Jersey does not exist. It exists. I don't care. But for the most part, that's where I came up in just grew up in the same household, lived in this house for my whole life. And I come from a Nigerian household. So overall, when I was growing up, they always focused on school, do whatever. They didn't even care about sports for real. So it was only just schooling and just doing what you had to do. So for the most part, the thing that got me into sprinting was it's a culmination of a lot of things. I played, so because we weren't really focused on schooling and stuff like that, not schooling, athletics as much. And I only started playing football when I was in middle school, 8th grade, because I just wanted to get into it. I was a gamer and stuff like that. I'm still a gamer a little bit, but I used to like Madden. So I was like, let me just play.
Yeah.
I can see myself as one of these safeties or something. So I played that. Wasn't too good at it at all, but I was one of those guys that were fast. So I was just like, okay, let's try running track. My dad also ran track. He was an immigrant from Nigeria, and he ran at STU, and he was like a 3-time champion for hurdles, which is crazy.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah. So 3-time champion in his conference for 400-meter hurdles. So I decided, let's just try it. It was that my dad inspired me to do it because he was good at it. Maybe I could be good at it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what really got me into at least starting track. I started my sophomore year in high school, and I started, like I said, 8th grade, playing football.
So as a sophomore, really just diving into the sport, when was it you kind of felt like, oh, I might want to do this at the next level and pursue this at a college level?
Man, this is funny. It wasn't until the last year that I decided, oh, wait, maybe I should do this. Because I wasn't necessarily good sophomore year whatsoever, the sophomore year, junior year, but I had a little bit of potential, and a lot of people see that. I didn't see it in myself. I just wanted to run track just to run track. It got to the point where the sophomore year when I started it, I just started getting that that natural high or something like that, that second wind or something like that a lot. And I was just addicted to the feeling. So I was just like, I love this, right? So I got into that. And then junior year, at the end of junior year, we started doing a lot of stuff. I went through a lot of injuries and stuff, but regardless, still ended up going really far. We actually went to New Balance Nationals out in North Carolina with my team. It was like a shuttle hurdle relay. So it was like a relay with hurdles. And we ended up coming 4th in the nation, but got disqualified, whatever. But regardless of coming from somebody, I just started running track the year before. I was like, how did I even imagine myself? I didn't even know what nationals was, So I got there, and I realized senior year that I wanted to get into it when that when that previous experience in junior year, and also the fact in senior year when I was running an indoor, I kept on training. I started getting addicted to it. I was seen as like a leader on the team, and then eventually indoor came all the way to MOCs and not winning it. But I came in fifth. So I ended fifth in the state of New Jersey, top 30 in the nation. So I was like, you know what? We're actually pretty good at this. Maybe we should see this. Maybe we can pursue this in college. So for the most part, I always ran for fun. It was a great, I saw it as a great opportunity to strengthen my habits and talents. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
You kind of highlighted a progression there where other people might have saw something in yourself that you didn't necessarily see. And once you gained that confidence and you realized your place in the sport, it kind of propelled you into seeing it as not only a pathway forward, but something you could truly pursue. And I think that's an important aspect for anyone going into any field.
Sure.
Obviously, you kind of knew at the time the challenges of playing a sport alongside being a college student, and you had a focus on education in your household. Sports was kind of secondary. What made you confident in that decision that you could do both? And were there kind of external pressures from your maybe family or friends?
Oh, for sure, 100%. Family did not want it. It's funny. My dad was, like I said, he ran the SIU. He did his thing. He was running fast and stuff like that. But we always see like the glory in it. We don't necessarily see the bad side. So in that time, like he was just some African running on a track team, and he happened to be fast. So a lot of people like see it and see his accomplishments, but not necessarily what he had to go through. So being somebody that Ed, he wasn't a professional athlete. He always wanted to be an Olympian, for example, but he also wanted to run a business. So, and at that time, the most way of, raising a family, raising capital, sending money back home and stuff, for example, the best way to do so was to get a job, do business or something else. So, I mean, that's his explanation as to why. So even sometimes now he doesn't even like the fact that I run track, but he sees I love it. So he just tries to support me on that one. So I love him for that. For the most part though, it's the family pressure was just always focused on what's going to get you, keep you successful, like what's going to get you money in the future is going to make you stable, at the end of the day, you're not going to be living paycheck to paycheck a certain way, and make sure you're maximizing how you can accomplish that. So does that mean taking away track for a second, do what you got to do? But I love how they didn't force me into doing anything. It was more like, just, we want you to understand that athletics, you're a student athlete, and that's what everybody says half of the time. You're a student athlete, student comes first. So just focus on that. And what made me confident in that front was in season during high school, I always had better grades. It just always happened because I had less time to do BS. And then also it was easier for me to, I don't know. Yeah, just overall just focus, because when you have, I don't know, because I was one of those people where if I had more time, I'd procrastinate. I wouldn't want to do stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's just like, I see it at the last moment. And also I feel like, given my high school, it wasn't as difficult compared to like a private school education, on top of the fact that I think God has definitely blessed me with natural intelligence. So I didn't even have to do as much to do what I had to do. So I almost encouraged me to pursue other things and have less time, be focused, essentially. So
it seems like it gave you a kind of a sense of structure and a little bit of balance in your life that's necessary. And I know you're pursuing a career in engineering, and it kind of has that same mindset where it's a very structure oriented, planned out kind of career path. Did that factor into making your decision about being an engineering major, or was it kind of a safety thing about guaranteed job path, or is it a combination of the two?
I would say it's a combination of the two. Definitely stable in a career path. Like I said, it's really interesting because I mean, I just knew when I was in high school that I simply just liked math and science at the same time. And I saw myself doing good at it. I could touch up on it. And also I definitely had a family pressure of a little bit, just to try and be a doctor. They wanted to be a doctor in the family. So you have to come. So for the most part, they also wanted me to try and touch in. At the end of the day, that has a stable out path. There's glory in the profession and all this stuff. So at first I decided, let me try and be a biomedical engineer. You know what I'm saying? So I can do pre-med, and if I don't want to end up going to med school, I can still be a biomedical engineer. So for the most part, it's a combination of I did see it, and as I kept on looking into it, I saw creativity, I saw the good salary, I saw the stable income, I saw that I would never go hungry, and I was like, okay, and I can also push myself, and I might be good at this. So it was really that. But to be fair, at the start of it, I didn't even know what I was going to be doing as engineer. Nobody told me nothing. I have no engineers in my family. So it's one of those things where, and I feel like a lot of people, when they come into school, sometimes they don't even know what it entails. They don't even look up what the job looks like and what day-to-day activities. They never spoke to someone that does it. And it's really important to do that research. So it wasn't until I knew outside looking in, it was good, but it wasn't until I started, maybe even now, I'm still discovering what I can do with the degree. So
that's an important point you make there. A lot of times we pick majors as incoming college students. You're 17, 18 years old, not necessarily have your whole life planned out in front of you, but you have an inkling towards what kind of things you're interested in. You said you were interested in math and science and that sort of stuff, and creativity, and that kind of blends together into where you are now. Do you think there are kind of steps incoming freshmen can take to better inform themselves?
Taking steps, I say network. I'd say if you want better steps to figure stuff out, one really good resource is the Labor of Statistics. I feel like it's a really good resource because it gives you all the facts, and also just simple YouTube searches. Like there was so many times of which where I just went on a tangent, just looking up stuff, looking up my major, looking up what I could do with it, simply because, and that's what happened when I was an incoming freshman a lot, because I didn't know what the end goal was exactly, what it looked like, and I wanted to picture it and have like an understanding of it, see the facts and stuff, so it would motivate me to finish my homework at a certain time, motivate me to stay up late and do this stuff, because sometimes I've seen a lot of people, they fail to find that motivation. So definitely labor statistics, touch up on that, and just look into the salary, look at the expected growth rate, how many people are employed, how many jobs are out there right now, look at the places where you have to maybe necessarily move if you want more money, and also like just look at the what else, cost of livings in those areas as well, because sometimes a lot of the time it's affected by that. So these are all stuff, mind you, 2 years I had no idea of. So you just got to look at that stuff. Trust me.
And then you seem to speak to kind of a blend of your interests and kind of logistics for comfort of living and stability. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important kind of mesh to make. Were there pressures also maybe from the other side of maybe coaches or teammates or even friends of, oh, you're trying to become a D1 athlete, you might want to have a major with a lighter workload to be able to succeed in that realm? But it seems like you're someone that pursues challenge. What was your mindset towards those types of people?
Those types of people, I'll be honest, the most,
and that's not to say that your coach or anyone said that.
I got you. I got you. Appreciate you, man. For the most part, no, it was, the thing is, I feel like different schools, I can't speak for every school, definitely, but different schools have different mentalities, and they definitely have different people on the team. There's some cases that I heard of that on some schools, at some schools, they don't allow their student athletes to be an engineer because of the workload.
Oh, wow.
That necessarily, like it just doesn't make any sense. If you want to be this person on this team, if you want to contribute points, you got to put in a lot of work. You have to do what you have to, and that requires sacrifice. So I would say, for the most part, though, most people didn't really count me out. I would say it was maybe because of how enthusiastic I was, and see how, like, in the past, how I accomplished whatever. It definitely wasn't no college work in high school, but at least when it came to doing what you had to do on the track, and also succeeding in the classroom. And also, it also depends on what sport you're doing, because some sports require more work and stuff like that, like football, skill work. But at the end of the day, when it comes to track workouts, you put in the work and you get out. There's only a certain threshold. You're only pushing your body certain amount. So it's really timed, calculated, and not only with good athletes and good coaches, you can really refine that. But my thing is with people that will try and push you off, at the end of the day, you have to be confident yourself, because at the end of the day, like I said, my family pressured me almost not to do it because they were scared of what I could accomplish. Like they didn't want me to burn out and having to end up hating track. Because sometimes that's the case when you can't when you're not yourself as much, or you don't see yourself going down. When you go downward in one portion of life, sometimes other things collapse as well. So that's what their fear was. But you just gotta sometimes some people are not cut out for it, and you have to figure it out. But for the most part, I like a challenge. I at the same time, I didn't see myself doing anything else at the time either. So it would seem like it was a one track thing. And once you're put in that position of which you have nothing else to, when you're forced to do something, when you're put in a position, you'll be surprised at what you can do. I'll definitely tell you that. Yeah, most stuff. I didn't think I would do it sometimes, but fry.
It seems like coming into college, there was a lot of questions about what it was actually going to be like. You had a perception of what it could be like, but it wasn't until you were thrown into the situation where you really were faced with reality. What was your perception of a student athlete prior to coming to college, and did it change once you were in the actual position?
I would say, let's see, my perception of a student athlete coming in was that they had a lot of I don't know, like, you know how in some schools or whatever, like I used to play, like I said, I used to be a gamer. I used to play 2K and stuff like that. And sometimes in the college they'll be like, oh my gosh, he's the star player of the team and stuff. Oh, you just scored that touchdown over there, you cool, or something like that. Oh, you guys run that track meet, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I thought there was going to be a lot of glory sometimes when it comes to it, because a lot of people like sports, and then like they notice how college in itself without being a student athlete is difficult. You know what I'm saying? So with also time being, having a strict schedule and basically working another job, it makes it harder. That was my perception of it. Like it had a lot of glory. You're a guy that it's just like D1 this, D1 that, you're the best type of athlete and stuff. And I would definitely say it depends on the school, most definitely, because in our school, I don't know. I feel like, you know, for example, at Boston University, like we have a lot of nerds. We have all different types of people, but like they don't necessarily just glorify athletes. Because matter of fact, most of the people I've met, they did a sport in high school, you know, so they're used to that type of stuff already. So that was my perception looking outside in. And when I actually got in, I guess it changed a little bit, because like there were people ask me and stuff like that, but they weren't so like change your attitude towards you when you said you were on the track team or something like that, unless they had that experience in high school and they got bullied or something. I don't know. I heard some type of stuff like that. I'm cool, man. I'm not going to beat you up. It's not like that. Yeah. But.
And what people don't see is kind of the work that's done behind the curtains to get to that point. And obviously, daily basis, it's a grind for your sport and your academics. How have you managed to balance your schoolwork with your sport, and how have you adjusted to that process since your freshman year?
Okay, bet. For the most part, I've managed to balance my schoolwork with athletics by scheduling. So I came up. Let me think. When I was explaining it to a friend, scheduling, praying, and networking. That's it. So literally, I started, how did I go about it? I balanced my schoolwork by, when in freshman year, once again, I had to figure out, one of the biggest things you need to learn is to learn how to learn. Boom. That's one of the things that I just took from freshman year, off of the fact that it was difficult for me to figure that out because I never really had to, because in high school, I was one of those guys that didn't have to do as much to do that to get the grades.
Yeah.
When you hit college, you literally have to study. You have to figure that type of stuff out. And that first semester, it took a lot of that. So I had to look up a bunch of stuff. I had to try different things. I saw, and a lot of the times, off the YouTube videos on how to study, how to read a textbook, it just took a lot of incorporating a lot of new things and seeing what worked, to the point where I know for a history class, I have to use a notebook compared to a history class? No, not a notebook. Take it on the computer first, and then after that, start writing it down so you can really get on your mind, because writing it gets it in your mind better. For example, that's one example for all those types of different things kind of came up together. And also overall asking, just talking to people. That's the networking portion. And then sometimes it's sometimes luck. You got to pray that you get a good professor. You got to pray that he doesn't give you that much stuff, or it's a little bit easier, or somebody that you know can help you with it, because sometimes it's a hit or a miss. I'll give you that. But for the most part, you can manage. That's how I've been basically trying to manage it. You got to network, you got to schedule, you got to pray, you got to know yourself, and you got to just make a plan for everything. I think one of the quotes that I picked up definitely was something about a guy with a plan. A fool with a plan will beat a intelligent person without one, basically, something like that. Yeah.
And this was all during the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic during your freshman year. And so on top of it just being a learning curve to school and college and everything coming at you with your sport, we were mostly virtual.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, your team's entering a new kind of environment because they didn't deal with a pandemic prior to this as well. How did you face these challenges, and what did you learn from that experience?
From a virtual school. Let's see. That was terrible. I'm not gonna lie. You see, it's morely what did I learn from that experience? I would say you got to learn how to adapt. At the end of the day, it's really interesting, right? We're like the first people to ever have to deal with. Well, not, I don't think it's the first people, but it's been a long time since we had a really erratic college experience. Like even the whole college thing was different. You get what I'm saying? So, and at the end of the day, you had to do what you had to do. But what did I learn from the experience, and how did I get through it while doing all this? It was with pure grit and a positive attitude, 100%. The main reason why I believe my team elected me a captain last year is because regardless of what was going on, you just got to try. And one thing I don't like even talking about myself in a positive highlight. Sometimes it's like it irks my soul. Like don't say that. But like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes.
Yeah.
So like positive attitude, you can do it, pure grit, a lot of enthusiasm. At the end of the day, I am a very enthusiastic human being, and that's what I pride myself on. Definitely. It's something that's different because because it's easier to be around someone that is so like, okay, let's get it. Even when there's a whole pandemic going on and there's only like 5 people in your group that you're literally working out with, you don't even see the whole team. I didn't even meet most of my teammates the freshman year because of the pandemic. I didn't know who was who. There was a lot of disconnect as a result because it was less of a family because you need in-person connections. And a lot of times those come from meets, when you see somebody break a record or see somebody run a nice time, or you see the grit that they do and practice and see how it pays off on the field, you know what I'm saying? So those things all influence everything. But for the most part, at the end of the day, you have to have a positive attitude. The fact that I really wanted it, and virtual school or not, I got to get that degree. There's no stopping it, and I thank God I got an academic scholarship on top of that. So it could there's only reason to go forward.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, as long, and being also at peace that whatever happens, but as long as you put your best foot forward, it's okay. You just got to do what you got to do.
You talked a little bit about how it affected your team in the sense of you didn't really even know everyone on your team freshman year because you didn't see each other on a day-to-day basis. So your whole daily routine was kind of out of whack. As we've begun to emerge from the pandemic and last year where you had to adjust to fully in-person classes as the first time, especially as a college athlete, how was this adjustment for you? Did it boost your ability in the classroom, or did it make your kind of daily routine tougher because you had to run all over the place and meet places at certain times?
Okay, boom. So for the most part, virtual school, yeah, I didn't even touch on how much virtual school sucked. Virtual school sucked because I'm gonna just get on that. Virtual school was terrible because you you struggled to talk to other people. It's already hard enough to go out of your way sometimes and talk to a random person and stuff like that. Matter of fact, when you're looking through a screen and you're interacting with a professor you never even see in person, and this is something that you're not used to. So as a result, I suffered, but I know that a lot of other people really took advantage of the fact that, okay, it's online, it's self-paced, I can take it wherever, I don't have to be here at a certain time. There's pros and cons to everything, and certain things help whatever strengths or weaknesses you have. So for me, my weakness was virtual school. the first time when we started transitioning, and I know and since I was in CGS as well, you already know in CGS we get to go to London over the summer. That's why we start spring semester instead of fall semester. So when we made that even small transition over the summer to in person, I noticed a significant difference. I could actually pay attention for a long period of time because I'm not sitting in the same place. Just even that small transition to going to in person, where you actually start talking with you seeing your professor here and there, and meeting people for the first time and being in that classroom setting, it felt foreign because it was like we already went through a whole process of which it was different, but it was so much easier because, like I said, you can focus, you can ask questions in person, encourage you to ask your classmates for questions as well. You can see who actually knows the material and who doesn't, so you can ask the person that knows the material questions, and then you can sometimes, if you're feeling like beneficial, you can help that other person that doesn't know what they're doing. It all comes together very well. So that transition coming in was 100% better for me. You can see you can see even the differences in grades from virtual to in person. It was way better. And on top of that, we weren't flying around all over the US. So it was a lot easier. I'll tell you that. It was just practice, some off weeks, and kept it pushing. So it was 100% better. And that's how college, in my opinion, should always be, in person. So, but
it seems like kind of those personal relationships and actually building up connections kind of boosted your not even overall academics, but also just your inspiration to move education in the next level. How has that regimen kind of developed over the past 2 years? Have you found a more efficient way to balance your life, or has it kind of gotten tougher and tougher as we've moved into more and more in-person events?
I would say in some cases, this is a big thing. No matter how much you try to prepare yourself, there's only a threshold sometimes, because some things that you learn, they have to come through experience. Like I'm really learning how to cook right now, and I'm realizing, like, as you keep on cutting like some lettuce or something like that, that's what really gets you. I can watch 100 videos on how to properly cut a lettuce, for example, or shred it or something like that, but at the end of the day, unless you do it, it's not going to make a difference. So for me to take that in and understand it, our sophomore year, when we transitioned to in person, when we started pushing in, and I had less time, I had a little bit less time for athletics because we weren't competing, we weren't in season. Season started December compared to spring semester, where we really get the ball rolling and we're going out every single weekend. So when we actually transitioned to the weekend, to that spring semester, there was times where I thought that I could do work on the plane, on the bus. It does not happen. You have to do what you got to do. And for whatever reason, it hit too late. Before you know it, I was behind on work, and now I had to sometimes sacrifice. Then that's when you had to start sacrificing stuff for one thing. Sometimes you got to make a choice. Sometimes you literally have to sacrifice athletics for academics, or you have to, or vice versa. Sometimes it's a lot of choices of which that required that. And so as a result, my routine was radically changed over the course of like a year and a half, also by the fact of what I learned and what I'm learning about myself. Right now, my routine that I'm coming up with, I'm trying to get 9 hours of sleep to maximize recovery and my brain function. At this point, I'm going to really try and do that over the next semester. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it has to happen, because I feel like that's the only way for me to stay sane, one, get good grades, and then maximize my recovery, because Lord knows I went through too many injuries spring semester. It was too much stuff. Stress kills. So
yeah,
I'll tell you that it's been I only have three semesters of experience. Well, actually, never mind. Four semesters of experience, but they sporadically change. So you just gotta give yourself like leg room to be like, okay, this is what's going on. You know what's gonna happen now. Make a plan to beat it next time. I know for a fact I can't do work while I'm on the bus or on the plane. I'm gonna do it during the week. It has to get done. Point blank, period. So
all of these skills you've kind of developed over the past 2 years are things you wouldn't have unless you put yourself in that situation. And all of these are applicable to life outside of track as well. Can you pinpoint one specific skill, or the most important one you've developed so far, that you believe is applicable to your life as a whole?
being comfortable, being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. I think for the most part, that's been my main one. That's probably the reason why we started, even how I met you to begin with. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes like you literally got to put yourself out there half of the time. And for the most part, that's one of my biggest strengths. And that's one of the skills I've been really trying to develop because one, it's a natural skill that I feel like I already have. And life, at the end of the day, the better you are at things, the more marketable you are, and the better you can put in. That's overall things you want to sell in life. You get what I'm saying? If I'm going to try and be something that I already feel like I'm good at, I'm going to really try and push that out. So wherever in case it be, me asking someone, for example, oh, how did you do this on this work? Hitting them up at a time when they might not even be up. You gotta take that shot, because at the end of the day, you don't know who can help you at any time. And half of the time, even me landing this internship, connecting with people, networking, showing my skills, it's not only about getting your skills, it's about how you portray it and how you push it out so other people can see it. It's like if you don't, literally, you can be the best, what's it called? You can be the best quarterback in the world, have the best arm or something like that. But if you can't communicate with your team doesn't like you, and you don't have the tenacity to really talk and be that leader, you're not going to do well. And you see that time and time again. So I'd say that's definitely the skill that's taken me from point A to point B. They've been people I have natural ability, but I've been going so far because of the people around me 100%. And I try to use that skill to build and help those other people around me as well. So yeah, definitely. That's
interesting. It's interesting you say that, because over the past 3 interviews I've done, that's been the number one skill every single person has pointed out. And it's actually the number one most employable skill. It's not a technical skill. It's a soft skill that you really need to put yourself in a uncomfortable place, as you said, to develop. And given that you're a part of a team sport, these aren't just great for physical exercise and accomplishment, but are also great communal spaces that allow people to alleviate everyday stress, build their communication skills, and greatly benefit their overall well-being. Personally, have you found this to be the case? And can you speak a little bit to the benefit of college students getting involved in this sort of environment, whether it be through a sport, a club, or any sort of group organization?
100% get involved in stuff like that, because when you, like I said, you're exposing yourself to talking to other people. Once again, getting out of your comfort zone. Even exactly, don't even go. One thing one person told me is like, try to even get involved in clubs that are not even specific to your major. I think it is important to have one, but have other ones where you can dabble in another skill and tap in on other things, because a lot of things complement each other, you know? So for the most part, team sports and team things definitely help you out. The more social, no matter where you go in life. I mean, some parts in life, maybe a team is not as important, but you're going to have to work on a team regardless. And another reason why I even got into sprinting and running is because it was a natural stress reliever, and exercise does a lot for the human body, right? I think I looked up something, or I had a conversation with my roommate, because he's a crazy guy. So what did he say? He said something about like, when you're depressed, when we were back in, when we were cavemen or something like that, and there's a tiger running at you, and you don't have the time to be depressed. You have to run. So exercise, it gets you out of that mindset, because you got to survive, because that's our imperative, right? We're human beings. You got to survive. You got to do whatever you got to do. So for the most part, team sports, that's not even your only physical exercise. Things that get you to do those type of things and speak on other people, they help bring community. It helps you be a better teammate in general, where life takes you. And it is stress relief. I'm not gonna lie. I had to solve complex codes, figure out orientations for chemistry sometimes. So after doing all that, it's nice just to just go on the track and just run. You don't really got to worry about nothing else. Just separate, and also separating different places. One place to work, another place where you can just be free and just race people. It's cool.
And I'm guessing that challenge where you push yourself physically has really made everything else feel easier.
Oh yeah. So exactly, it's like I literally all the time. There was this one workout that was so gruesome in high school, for example, and there was one in college, but college is less gruesome because they don't want to kill you. high school, whatever, they killed us. I don't know why. But bro, there was one that we did 300s, like 15 300s. All my track people watching this, you know what I'm talking about. It was just absolutely terrible. We kept on going in. That day, when I realized I could finish that workout, I can do anything in my life because those things are so challenging. Everything your being wants you to just walk home or get home. But like that's when you actually start forming those things that you tell in your mind whenever things get hot or get hard. Pain is temporary. Pain is temporary. 10 minutes from now, I'm not going to be in pain. So I'm going to just run through this right now. 2 days later, the next day when I'm trimming for a exam or I'm trying to finish up a presentation, when I'm done with the presentation, I'm going to be good, So sometimes you just got to figure that out. And those type of environments where it's make or break you, it pushes that definitely.
You've truly fit in a lot in the past 2 years, and that's a great place to develop yourself by kind of seeing how much your capacity truly is. So over the past 2 years, you kind of carved out a path for yourself that's worked, and you'll continue to develop that path over the next 2 years. But given what you know now and the experiences that you had, if you were to look back and give yourself one piece of advice as an incoming freshman, what would that be?
One piece. Does it have to? It can't be a mixture of stuff. I don't know.
No, you go for it. Go for it. Whatever you got.
Some things that I would tell him back then, I'm still telling myself now. It's funny. I say be okay messing up. Everything teaches you. I mean, every failure is just something where you can learn from, take advantage of it. Nobody has things figured out 100%. There's still people that are 30 don't know what the heck they're doing. There's still people 40 that don't know what the heck they're doing. There's a stop. I mean, you can feel the pressure because it's produced all these things. I felt the pressure that I had to figure everything out. And as a result, I've been doing all these things, but don't let it stress you out to the point you're going to die. Please just get to the point where, like I said, try your hardest to figure that out sometimes, but at the same time, just go along with the ride. It's ridiculous to try and expect 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds, even 20-year-olds, what they're going to do, what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And that's the one thing I don't like about this society sometimes. It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's where you see depression, anxiety, all this other stuff, and all these bad traits start coming about. So for the most part, be okay with not knowing everything and just figure it, and then look for those answers, small answers, learn from everything and keep it pushing. Know your limits as well. Know your limits because burnout is real. Trust me.
I think that's a great way to close things out because every day is just a building block. And as long as you're pushing yourself and trying to learn something, you're going to build something bigger. Overall, I just want to tell people, go to Uchenna's track meets this fall, winter, and spring. A lot coming up. And overall, thank you for your time. It's been great and very helpful for everyone out there. I hope the listeners could grab something from that.
I hope so too. Thanks for having me, boss. Best one right here. Best podcast. Tap in. That's it. Subscribe. Like. Have a good one.
All right.